If you take your food personally, like me, then you need to get on the Thrive food discovery and ordering app. Join the community of foodies on the Thrive feed, where you can curate restaurant lists, ask for recos, and chat about all things food. So download it today and start thriving. Welcome to today's episode of Speak Greasy. My guests are the fourth generation owners of not just any brand, but one that is a true institution of Mumbai, Parsi Dairy Farm. Welcome to the show, Parvana and Sarfaraz.
Thank you, Gauri.
For having.
Listen, it's the OG dairy and Indian sweet shop of Bombay. How does it feel to be the custodians of a brand like this, which is such a treasure for not just Parsis, but I think Mumbaikars at large?
So, Gauri, one is there's immense pride. Every time you get introduced to somebody, you talk to somebody and you tell them, so like, what do you do? And I said, Parsi Dairy Farm. And, their face lights up and they're like, oh, wow. So I think that it carries a lot of pride and at the same time, a lot of responsibility. The responsibility to be true to the brand and to keep the legacy the way it was handed down to us, to keep it the way it is.
So, you talk about legacy and fourth generation. I mean, I have to be honest, I'm a first generation entrepreneur and I'm ready to sell my business. It's only been about, 15 odd years and I'm ready to get the hell out. I'm not waiting till my daughter's of age, that's for sure. So, it's really, genuinely jokes apart, it's commendable that your family has, retained the sort of the family legacy for all these generations. Was it expected of you to take over the reins, or is it something that you know?
Yes, at some point of time in our lives, we did think, yes, we are going to take over the reins of this shop because it has been there for 3 generations. I'm sure we have to continue it the same way. And at the same time, seeing to it that even our recipes stay the same, but just we want to give it a new look, new feel. And that's how we are basically going forward with the whole thing.
But it was started by your great-grandfather and then handed down to your grandfather, who were 2 brothers or 4 brothers?
With 1 sister.
Right.
And then it came down to my mum and his mother.
Which are 2 children.
2 sisters of one of the brothers.
Oh, of one of the brothers. Okay. And now it's 4 of you all.
Now it's 4 of us.
How does that family dynamic work? Because I barely keep it alive with my husband. And, now it's 4 of you all. And it is sort of, growing. How does that family dynamic work?
I think it works amazingly.
Wow.
Because I couldn't be more lucky than to work with my brothers and sisters. And we've grown up in the atmosphere of Parsi Dairy Farm all the time. So we've had festivals there, we've had working times, we've got everything there with the family. So we work together. And we all 4 have our very defined roles. So I handle the production, the quality, the back-end operations. Sarfaraz handles the sales. My elder sister Xenia, she handles the branding and the entire look and feel, because she comes from a background of graphic designing. And our eldest brother, Bakhtiar, he handles the overall management, the overall systems, things like that. So I think we all complement each other at the same time, where our parents have a huge role to play in this.
So they're still very actively involved.
Oh, yes.
And
of course.
I would say I think they're the best mentors we could have ever asked for.
But it is something, that does change with generations, right? I mean, you guys are bringing in a fresh lease of life. You all just went through sort of rebranding in a way, and congratulations, because it brought me back to the store after years. And I have to say, I also grew up not working at Parsi Dairy, but definitely, coming to the store with my father. It was like a sort of tradition that I went to school in that sort of neighborhood, and my grandmother lived on Marine Drive, so it was on our way. And, it was just something, it was just there in the background in our lives. It was something that we just took for granted, whether it was the kulfi or, the sutar feni. It was just there. How do you sort of balance that tradition of what it means to people, the nostalgia factor, and what you're bringing to it as the fourth generation.
One of the points you're missing out here is you've been traveling and seeing it from the outside and feeling, but what happens inside? So the major thing is, over these years, as we talk about legacy, we talk about tradition, we talk about all these things, the main part is the hard work and the consistency of how we maintain these recipes and these things like that. So that's where the strong point of Parsi Dairy Farm is. We are consistent since then till now in what we've always done. Rebranding is the new way. Even though we've rebranded our shop, because we are looking at going into the new market, we're looking at the Gen Z, we're looking at millennials coming to the market. At the same time, we cannot leave back our loyal patrons, right? Because as you are one of them, you've been traveling on Marine Drive and seeing it. There's so many other patrons of Parsi Dairy Farm who love Parsi Dairy Farm. I've heard of people coming from Borivali, from Thane today, and they just come to our shop and they're like, हमको तो आना ही था क्योंकि वो घी तो लेना ही है घर के लिए. We used to stay here. Now we've shifted there. But we still can't get that fragrance anywhere else. We need to get that same product, and that is why we come back to Parsi Dairy Farm. So that's how we maintain the tradition.
But I want to talk about that because, I agree with you. Even in our business, which is the restaurant business, consistency is the key, right? Because you're creating a memory. There's a habit that you're creating, in your case, where, it's a daily product. And people want that, they don't want that to change, right? And you come back for that again and again. And the minute there's a change, that's what, puts people off in a way, right? Like it's the same thing with a restaurant where you crave a certain dish that you've had and you keep going back to the restaurant for that. So if it changes, that's going to really put you off. How have you sort of balanced that with technology, automation, when it comes to FMCG, scaling up where you are, that's a big part of production and being able to scale. How do you retain that? And I'm not asking you to give away trade secrets, but, how do you kind of continue to bring in that same flavor that people crave without compromising on, being able to scale up?
That's a very, very good question. And it's very relevant to what we do. I would say that the way we've kind of taken it up onto us, because we knew that once the launch would come, we would have to start preparing this, back end. One is stay true to what your roots are. We have a policy with products of, our family has a policy, rather a choice of not putting any preservatives in our products. So we batch small, we batch regular. And another thing is just to have a constant continuity and just standardize things more efficiently, understand where basic loopholes are, and also streamline them. And I don't think it's that hard to multiply once you know what you're doing. We have to multiply very organically. You have to be very conscious about the decisions you're making. And we as a family are very conscious about those decisions. And we also put in a lot of new age kind of packaging, which helps the product survive in conditions without damaging the nature of the product. So that is where technology has really helped us.
That's really interesting that what you changed and improved on is the packaging rather than the product.
We were very clear that we were not going... The Parsi Dairy Farm has worked here for 107 years. It's worked for some reason. And the reason is the fact that we keep our recipes so simple and so true to what they are. No preservatives. And we're giving you just the purest form of dairy or sweet that you can have. So we didn't want to move away from that. So we said, okay, now what do we do if we want to scale up? So the next thing is the packaging.
Interesting. The whole dairy and Indian sweets landscape has definitely changed. I mean, in my the last 15 years that I've been in the business, I have seen, new products coming into the market all the time. It's crazy, the number of brands coming out there. And I'm not even going into the whole non-dairy or the dairy alternatives, just pure dairy. We've talked about this when I came, to the store about the whole A2 fad and madness that's going on. I was like, what were we eating before when it came to ghee, or what were we drinking before? So I'm going to ask you this technical question, Sarfaraz. But, you guys have been doing it for yonks.
Yes.
Yes, you've got an incredible brand. How do you still sort of, I guess, position yourself or differentiate yourselves if you need to when it comes to all these new brands on the block?
So new brands always explore a way to come into the market, right? So one of those fads would be your A2 cow, right? Which is the Gir cow of India. Well, they do forget that the buffalo is already having the A2 protein in it. So
What is A2?
A2 is a protein,
Okay.
which comes in the milk.
And it's in both cow and buffalo milk.
It's available in only certain breeds of cows. It's not available in all, but in buffaloes, it's available everywhere.
And this is what's really like nutritious and good for you.
That's the nutritious.
So you've been doing it for ages. So what's the new?
We didn't make it a fad.
So
Stayed.
it's interesting. I think for a brand, they probably couldn't compete with your name. So they were sort of focusing on a different aspect of it, which maybe, people just like didn't notice when it came to Parsi Dairy because it was Parsi Dairy. You just kind of,
No one highlighted it. Let's put it that. No
Right.
one highlighted that A2 is available in buffalo or A2 is only a certain sect of cow. That's the difference.
So when you see this happening, what is it that you kind of need to put out there, or what's your reaction when you see these brands being launched, and also being launched in ways where it's like, I know you all have the quintessential glass milk bottle, which would come, be every morning kept outside the door. Today you're seeing this with like plastic, you're seeing this with Tetra Packs. I mean, how are you kind of navigating this
So we're
space now?
still in the business of milk delivery, which is one of our core businesses, which has been started in 1920s, late 1920s, early 1920s. And we've seen so many competitors in this, and they use it as a platform to get customers. It's a great platform to introduce your brand to a customer. Milk delivery, right? What more would you want than just something being delivered at your house in the morning?
I'd also like to add out here is that I think what's different about our milk is we have 4 types of milk. So in buffalo, we have 4 grades, which go for, 3 grades. One is a no fat, which is more of a health purpose. Then we have a low fat, and then we have a full fat. So the day you really want to enjoy yourself.
I had no idea you could have low fat or no fat buffalo milk.
So and another thing is, there are a lot of competitors, but I feel it's very healthy. And every time a competitor comes, we actually sit down and study it, because we want to know what's happening, how are things moving. And we know we're not the only ones there, but I feel like there's enough market for everyone. And I think that a person who understands our brand knows that they're getting the fresh, pure milk, and we don't want to go extravagant with something as basic as milk in packaging, because we also have to think about the fact that our children are going to be living in this world after us. So that's very important to us.
So do you still have the glass bottles?
Yes, we do. We do have a few glass bottles. I have one in my own house. I've just kept it as a frame right now.
Let's talk about the Indian sweets market, because of course that's also a big part of Parsi dairies.
I think it's changed. It's changed drastically, but it's also got a lot of sense of people are wanting to explore, wanting to have a different kind of sweet. But at the same time, we're seeing so many people who come in and be like, I still want that original Sitarfeni.
Yeah.
I still want that old jalebi. So our sweets are very traditional in their sense. Well, I don't always experiment very much, because I believe in keeping it very simple, keeping it to, I want people when they come inside to feel like this is the taste I had when I was 7 years old.
Yeah.
And this is what I want my daughter or my child to grow up eating. So, but there is a lot more people asking for it, which is thanks to the trend.
We have a simple story I can tell you. Basically, we had one family which came to Parsi Dairy Farm. I mean, one gentleman with his family, I should put it that way. And he was enjoying the kulfi, and my brother happened to be there on the counter, and he was like, no, actually he asked, where's the owner? And my brother went there. And he told him that, can I tell you something? And he was like, yeah, sure, what happened? And he was like, I have brought my family. I used to come here before the partition. That means, yeah, he was, and I had to bring my family back here. So this was the one place in Mumbai which I used to go every day for some daily need or some like kulfi or something like that. And he was like, I just wanted them to come here and just taste this kulfi from this brand. And he said, one of my bucket list has been ticked out here, that I brought my family to Mumbai, and in Mumbai I brought them to Parsi Dairy Farm. So, I mean, it just stays with us. Some sort of stories just like go way beyond.
But I mean, I have to ask you this: that there's that generation, which is our parents' generation, that where it was, it was an everyday part of their lives, right? How are you connecting with our generation, which is being born into so much choice, which is being exposed to so much choice? How do you feel you can forge a new relationship almost with our generation?
I think the way to do that is the road we're already on right now. So relaunching, changing the packaging to make it more for today's generation, make it more, every packaging that we have done is very much thought of. So even our the great Indian toffee, it's been a recipe in the family for so many years, but we've changed it to make it so giftable.
Yeah.
Because we understand today's generation's looking for that loud pop,
Bling, a little bit of bling.
So if you see the packaging, it's like a circus.
Yeah.
And it totally goes with the products.
And even the way you displayed it at the store, like it was a big instant hit with my 10-year-old.
That's the point. That's exactly what we are attacking. Like, we need the 10-year-olds. We are even looking at the college crowd to come in. Even a simple thing at our store is we had poofies, which we never thought of keeping ever in our lives. And nowadays, when we go up there and we see those poofies are always filled with college groups. That's what the new age likes. And even our mithais, you can see, they look so fresh. They look so good. You just want to grab something every time,
I think that's one really important takeaway from this, is that you don't change the product. You might just have to change the way it's received. And just make it relevant to a new generation that, so it's evolving doesn't necessarily mean changing what's true to your brand.
I believe that. I believe we're here 100 years because of that.
Yeah. And another thing about, I think, brand, which, and when I was sort of researching about Parsi Dairy, I know that for you, that connect with your customers is so important. And I read about how, your phones are still answered by a human voice and not an automated, voice. And there's that element of trust, right? And I think that is so integral to the longevity of a brand, is that trust of knowing that, you can still speak to someone, you can still ask your questions, you can still get real answers, and, it's
from a human being.
From a human being. But tell me how you sort of, again, coming back to that question of scale, and this is something that even we've been through as a brand, where, everyone's like, oh, it's 13 years, why do you not have one more table somewhere? Or, you've just had that one restaurant and it's a conscious decision that we made, where we're not sort of, there's no one way to do things, and there's no sort of, it is, again, just a family-owned business. How do you sort of manage that aspect of scale when it comes to this human interaction that is so integral to your brand?
The team. The team is the people responsible for this. So one is that back at Parsi Dairy, our team is our core strength. And every time, the teaching that goes out to the team also is when they see the family there on the floor all the time, serving when it's needed. And I think that's what goes down to them. And also what's very important in this is that we have customers from generation. We have customers who are a fourth generation today.
Wow.
So we've got customers who are the grandmother, who's the now new age household girl, and also we've got these young kids who are looking and buying products from us. So we have to be relevant to all. So that is why I think we've also come up with a system where we are on social media. We are available on a phone call away. We're very soon having our own website to pick up products from. So we just want to be available everywhere and very much be in touch with what our customer wants. So it's very important to be approachable.
We're planning to grow in 2 segments that way. One is our food delivery apps like your Swiggy, Zomato and things like that, where customers love it. And we love it also because they are being able to get our product being in their house.
Yeah.
The second way we want to scale up, and we plan to scale pan-India, is through our supermarkets. Basically, we want to go through our supermarkets. We have Nature's Basket, we have Reliance, we have all these different supermarkets which we want to be in. And that's our way to scale up. Obviously, it's a set list of products. It's not all our products. We cannot push in all our products because it's sensitive on the shelf life.
Yeah.
So products which have a longer shelf life, it's available pan-India.
Pan-India.
Yeah.
And I believe you also export?
Almost there.
Almost there.
We've done it before. We closed it down for a bit, and now we're back on that road.
That's your KPI, Sarfaraz. Listen, this comes to the sort of fun bit now of the episode where we play this 2 truths and a lie. So if you can tell us 3 things, and I'll try and guess the lie.
We're the oldest functional dairy in India. Our delivery boys team was called the White Brigade. And we are one of the pioneers to bring yogurt into India.
Okay, I know the last one's true. I'm pretty sure the first one's true as well. So I'm going to go with the White Brigade, because were they the Blue Brigade or something?
Oh, God!
They were the Blue Brigade.
Branding on point, guys. No, you didn't keep a poker face, so I have to.
I had to. How could I reveal it?
By the way, on that note of yogurt, can you tell us another tech question? But can you tell us the difference between yogurt and dahi?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, kitchen department.
Okay, so curd essentially is much more formed in nature. They both have a certain, they both made the same way. They both have cultures in it. It's milk and culture. And our curd especially is made in earthen pots. And if you take curd by itself, you can use it as an ingredient for so many more things. Like we make, biryanis out of it. You can make curry out of it. It's so universal. It's one of the most healthiest things to have. And it's very firm, right? It doesn't have that much of whey on top, especially ours because we make it in earthen pots. While yogurt is a more flavored product. And yogurt comes from curd, but again can have fruits with it and has a more of a lighter texture, a more looser texture. It's not as firm as curd.
It's like a creamy
It's a more creamy one. It's a pasty one. So that's something you enjoy by itself. Though I've heard many people enjoying our curd by itself too.
Yeah.
I just love it.
It's amazing. So you still make them. I mean, you still set it in the. And what's the sort of importance of that versus?
What's great about it is that one is it's the earthen pot, and it's something that helps the curd set so naturally and so firm. It just works beautifully with the entire system. So even I think years back at home when people used to set curd, okay, they used to have these little clay pots that they used to do it in, and I think this must have come down through there. It's always been like that. And if you open one of your Parsi Dairy Farm curds, you'll see like a thick white gash with no whey on top.
And that's our trade secret. How do you get the thick white layer?
Is it not a delivery nightmare to deliver in earthen?
So we trust our delivery boys to do it. So we have our own delivery team also. No, they also do it because it's a 5 kilometer radius. So it's not a big deal for them to manage
You're like
it.
carry it in your hand and cycle.
We have delivery sensitive products, yes, we do have them. But, and one of them being Dahi, because it needs to be cool, it needs to be refrigerated, and also it has to be straight. So all those things, but all information is given to the Swiggy Zomato guys. Listen, this does not turn, this does not this. Now, at the end, the customer lets us know what happened to the curd.
Your curd is my pizza. So listen, this has been really fun, and there's so much to learn from you all. For anyone, you know, whether you're starting up or your legacy business, which is the trust and staying true to yourself is so important today in sort of not just establishing but maintaining a brand, and a brand is over a century old like yours. So kudos to you and your family, your parents, everyone who's been holding the sort of flag high, and I wish you guys all the very best, and may Parsi Dairy flourish throughout the country.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us, Gauri.